Hello, Socorro, here with you from my room of hope in my kitchen. Don't worry, I'm not gonna be making all these videos of cooking, all that cooking videos every single time because I don't know how to cook that many different dishes or whatever. But today I wanted to share this one in particular because I like it whenever it's over here, it's like 35 degrees, 38, so it's freezing. So every time it's really, really cold, I always like to make some type of soup. The soup I'm going to prepare today is very, very common, very basic in our culture, in our Mexican culture, and it's caldo de pollo, a chicken soup. And so it's very, very easy to make. So I'm going to share with you how I make it. And I'm also going to make homemade corn tortillas, and I'm also going to make the rice that goes with it. So I'm going to teach you how to make all of it, then while it cooks, and then I'll come back and show you the end result. So as of right now, what I have is I have the water boiling right now. I always put my water to boil first. Once it starts boiling a lot, then I throw in the chicken with onions and garlic heads. So that's what I do to get the water going first. Once the chicken is a little bit soft and it's released all the nasty stuff, I take it all out because it grosses me out. And then I let it cook for a little bit, and then I throw in all my vegetables. So pretty much the ingredients for today are gonna be just the chicken. I usually use the chicken, the drumsticks, and I like to rinse them because I don't know, it just grosses me out. So I rinse all my chicken, and then I'll just throw it in there in a minute. So you rinse your chicken really fast, depending on how many people is how many chicken legs you throw in there. I usually throw in there two drumsticks per kid. So if I have three, I do six, and then whatever me and my husband will eat. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8. And then I like to throw in chicken breast just because, I don't know, in case someone doesn't want the drums, then we can have a chicken breast in there as well. Okay, so since the water is boiling already, once the chicken starts boiling as well, and then we'll get all that nasty stuff out of there, and then we'll throw in the vegetables. And the vegetables, obviously, you'll know when to throw them in if they're too, like for example, everyone likes their chicken soup differently. I don't like it with too much vegetables. I don't like the cabbage because I feel like it makes it sweet. Ugh. It's either salty or sweet for me. So it's everyone's preference. So what I'm gonna throw in there, not right now, but later on, I have some potatoes, I have some squash, and then I have some carrots. And I just like to cut them up in portions, kind of the same size, so that they could cook kind of together. And then, so that's what I'll throw in a little bit later. And then I gotta throw in my garlic heads in there so that I don't forget later for flavor. Obviously, I don't, okay, there went my garlic, it went flying over there. I found it, little rascal, it just took off flying over there. So I'll rinse it in a minute. And then here's I've never been good with garlic, ever. My friend taught me a trick. You're supposed to do your knife, and then you do this. But I forgot to do that, so that's why it went flying over there. I still suck. Okay, so you just peel it, obviously. You can put however many garlic heads you want, however much onion you want. I just feel the more stuff it has, the more flavor it gets. I'm gonna throw those in there. And then I'm gonna throw some onion in there if I could find it. This is pretty much ready. I put big pieces of onion in there just so that it could give it flavor. And then also like a piece of tomato or whatever. Maybe another one. Again, to me, the more stuff you put like this, the more flavor it gets. So that's why I put, that's my basic stuff that I put for flavor in my chicken soup. I don't put too much, I keep it simple. Oh, and oh my gosh, you've got to have the cilantro. If you don't have cilantro in any of your soups, you don't know what you're missing. Okay, so I have that cooking. While that's cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and also make some rice. Oh, and this is the comal I was talking about last time when I made my tortilla one, about the 1 and the 2. This is the one that I have that is a double. This is the double one that I have, and it's a lot smaller. This is like probably 8 inches. And so this is the one I use for my, corn ones. And so I turn it on a little bit lower and get it heated as well. This one's a little, they're pretty much the same size as my other one. So as I have that heating up, I'm gonna show you how I make the rice. And hang on one second, let me turn it a little bit. So the rice, I usually use this kind, the Manhattan. Or not Manhattan, I'm sorry, Mahatma, whatever the heck it's called. I usually use this one. But it always explodes on me, and I'm not very good with my rice, but it has a killer flavor. But today, my sister-in-law, Maria, shout out to Maria, taught me how to make it with this, the jasmine rice. And this one doesn't explode. And everyone's preference. I don't like to wash mine. So you put a little bit of cooking oil in your pan. This is my favorite pan to make rice in. I usually like to cover the bottom of the pan for the rice. A lot of people like to put more oil in there. It's just your preference, vegetable oil, whatever oil you want to cook it with. And so I just throw in some rice. Again, I don't use measuring cups, so don't ask me how much it is. Which I usually do about just when the bottom is covered with the rice and a little bit more. So I just put a little bit because you don't want to have too much either, and you could have it leftovers and eat it the next day with something else. Okay, and then all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna brown it. Once it's brown, I usually like to add my tomato sauce, this is the one I use. I feel like it gives it a little bit more flavor. And then I use this as for flavoring. And there's 2 kinds. This is the tomato one, and then there's the chicken one also. There's 2 kinds. I usually like to use this one for like almost everything. And then this one, I use it once in a while just when I want to change it. It gives it really, really good flavor for the soups. So I'm gonna be using this one today. And then you add some salt to your taste. So that's all we're doing right now. So for right now, I'm just gonna brown it till it gets nice and brown. Again, there's some people that like it super dark. Some people like it really, really light. It's just your preference. And of course, I'm gonna let it sit while it cooks, and I'll turn this off. I'm just showing you how to brown it. And it's really, really easy. You just gotta keep turning it, because if you don't, then it'll get burned. There's people that like to brown it just for a little bit and then just simmer it a little bit with the oil or cook it. I don't know the terms. I'm not a cook. And so you just kind of turn it, and then they like fast, like a minute or 2, and then they do the rest of the stuff. I like mine very, very brown. I don't know, I guess because like I said, my mom always used to do it like that. So I guess that's why I like to do it just like how she used to do it. And see, right now it's still really, really white. Once you get the brown color, then you'll know that that's when it's almost done. So this takes a little while, so I'm just gonna let it again, everyone cooks differently. I always remember, my mom and dad, they weren't the type that would give you a hug or would give you a high five or anything like that. I feel that the way my mom showed us that she loved us was she always had a home cooked meal after school. Every single time I remember, would get home starving, and because of the bus ride was so long, and would just get home. And I remember my mom always had something cooked. and it was always warm when we got there. She always washed our clothes. She always kept up with the house and stuff. She was always she's always been a stay-home mom. And so I could always appreciate that from her, because I don't know, I guess it just made me feel special that we were one of the some of the only kids that had home cooked meals after school. And they always told us, man, you guys are lucky. Your mom always has home cooked food for you guys. And we're like, yep. Oh crap, for me talking, I almost went the right. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Okay, and so while this is cooking, and so I made it a point that when I got married, obviously I don't make breakfast. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have time to make breakfast in the morning. But what I do is I always try to make sure I have something cooked in the afternoons. It's nothing big because I don't have time. Sometimes I get home earlier, sometimes I get home later with the kids' games and practices and me teaching the catechism at our church and stuff on Wednesdays. I don't really have a lot of time, but I will always cook. I always have a pot of beans cooked. I either make bean burritos, I'll make some eggs with weenies, or I'll make some fideos, or I'll just make something warm. And sometimes I don't have time for that, so I just make whatever I can, but it's home cooked. And it's not every day, because sometimes we are running a little behind, or sometimes there was just no time. We'll stop and get something fast. But for the most part, I always try to cook something at home. And I don't have to, but it's something that I want to pass on, since my mom always raised us like that, and she always had the home cooked meals. I want to do that for my kids, and hopefully one day, even though they don't appreciate it, they're like, this is so boring, we're tired of eating the sopas, the beans, and this and that. I was like, hey guys, at least you got something. They don't even know they don't even know how lucky they are. I'm gonna turn my little thingy on because it's starting to smell. So as you can see, it's turning a little bit darker now. It's not as white as it was. So it's coming to, I don't even know how long we've been on here, but it's probably about maybe 5 minutes. I don't know, I didn't calculate it. So I got it nice and brown. And I turned it off because when I put the tomato sauce on there, it's gonna go psh and make a big like explosion sound. So I went ahead and turned it off so it could cool down just a tiny second. Okay, so it's nice and brown. So it's ready to get the tomato sauce on there. And you could use any tomato sauce you want to use. I prefer this one. It has a little bit more flavoring than the normal. But you could use any tomato sauce. It doesn't have to be this one in particular. And then I'll turn it back on. And then I like mine juicy. I've always liked my rice juicy. I hate when it's dry, so I fill it up with water. The rice was to like right here, and the rice is like way up here because I like it juicy. I can't stand when my rice is dry, so that's why I do it. Okay, so now that I have the water and the tomato sauce, I go ahead and I'm gonna add some salt. I usually use about 2 of these, but that's my measurement. And then I go ahead and I put this. And I put 2 of those as well. I also like to put cilantro on my rice. Oh, I love cilantro taste. I don't like to eat it, but I like the flavor it gives the food. Okay, so we just finished the rice. Once you'll know when it's cooked because it'll be softer or whatever, and it'll get a different, I don't want to say it explodes, but you'll see when it's cooked, just like when you cook any other soups or whatever, you'll see it. So we got that going right now. Once it starts boiling, I like to turn it down very, very low so you can finish cooking. I don't want to overcook it. So that's going, the chicken soup is going. So now really fast, I'm going to show you how to make the corn tortillas. And it's funny because we all have our favorite things to cook with. I use this little bowl so that you could, I always measure my corn tortillas with this because sometimes I use the other one that I use for the flour tortillas and I make too many and I always have like a lot of them left over. So I like to use this one because I already have, that's my measurement for them. And I don't fill it up all the way. I just do like probably half. It's probably about the size of your face. I don't know what size it is. Just kind of measure it with your face or something. And this is what I use to make the corn tortillas. It's just maseca. And then you can get it at any Mexican store or anywhere pretty much. And so I have it in my little container. And this is corn tortillas. This is not flour. And like I said, don't worry, I'm not gonna be making videos every single day because I don't know how to cook a lot of cool stuff, just a few. But this is something that's pretty fast and it's really, really good because it's all homemade. So this is my, so I usually fill it up about halfway, so I don't go all the way up. Okay, and then this one is just also like the other one, you just add water to it. Chihuahua, I think I put too much water again. I always do that. I make it too runny and then I have to put more of the mix and then I end up making like a lot of tortillas, which is okay because the next day you could eat them with quesadillas or with an egg or whatever. And since they're homemade, oh, they're killer. So all I'm doing is mixing this up. And then again, you'll know when it's ready because like right now, this is dry. You want it to all come together like the dough. These are corn tortillas. Don't forget, they're not the flour. And so whenever I make the caldos, the soups, I like to always make corn tortillas when I have time. I don't always have time, and we have to get the store-bought. But whatever. I'm gonna make just a few so you can see how to do it, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pause it, and then whenever we're a little bit closer to being done with everything, I'll come back on for a few minutes just so you can see the end result. Because the chicken soup is boiling, but it's not anywhere being close to ready. And then these are gonna take me a little while, but I'll show you how to make a few of them. And then you can, we'll go from there. Okay, so the dough's ready. See, it comes together. And those are ready too. The key for this is, this, I call it a prensa. I don't know what you want to call it. It's this thing right here. You could get it at any Mexican store. And what you do, it's just made out of metal. And then what I do is I cut out some piece of plastics and I make them like this. I cut them out. And then I just lay it here. And then you just grab the masa. And then you just start, you turn it. Kind of like the other ones, but this you just roll into a little ball because it's not like the dough. It's a little bit different texture. So you just roll them till they're nice and round. And then you just throw it on here. And then you close the plastic. And then you push this down. And then you press. And voila, you got yourself a round tortilla. And you just peel it off the plastic. If you don't put the plastic, good luck trying to get it off of the thing. And then this one, you do put it with both hands very carefully. I don't know if you can see it. Because you don't want it to get any bubbles. And then you do the same thing. So you grab a little bit, and then you turn it around. Or not turn it around, roll it, kind of, but with your hands. And then you do this, nice and flat. And then you just put it on there again, and you put the plastic over it. You squish it a little bit, and then you do this. And then you got yourself, again, a nice round tortilla. And you just keep repeating this. Sorry, I went to get this thing because my sister-in-law got it for me from Mexico. This guy was in jail and they make them, and it's super, super cool. It's out of wood. And then you just stick them in there and it keeps them warm. So I love, love, love this thing. This one, you turn it, and then once you turn it again, you press on it so that it could bubble. To me, I like to do that because that's how I know it's cooked. If it doesn't have that big bubble, then to me, I feel like it's not gonna be it's not cooked yet. So so you turn it one time, and then I always like to turn it a third time, and then I press it on the sides, and then it'll bubble up really nice and pretty. I don't know if you could see it, but it's starting to bubble up. See this right here, the bubble, it bubbled up. And these are smaller than my my flour tortillas, so that's pretty cool. But this is how you make your corn tortillas. And then again, you do the same thing, you press it, and I don't know if you can see it rising, but we got the bubble going. And then it's nice and fluffy. And there you go. That's how you make chicken soup, rice, and your homemade corn tortillas. So in a few minutes, I will come back and I'll show you what it all looked like once it was cooked. Thank you. See you in a bit.